All right, welcome back to part two of our season recap with Mr. Bob Osgood. And again, you can find Bob on the Red Seat podcast, which I am a listener of. It's fantastic if you're a Red Sox fan or just a baseball fan in general. Definitely a nice, fun, informative listen. You can also find him at Bob Osgood on Twitter or X. You can also find the Red Seat podcast on Twitter or X at Red Seat Podcast. All right, enjoy. We'll see you
All
soon.
right, let's go into some pitchers here, some risers pitchers, and Bob's gonna speak sweet nothings into my ear about his riser.
Yes, Cade Horton. Um, love Cade Horton. I did a year ago just from a prospect perspective, and then this season he came up, and his second half was just out of this world, and it was interesting because there's a lot of hype usually when a big. I think of like the Mizorowski and Chase Burns big waivers weeks, and you saw I think Yuri Perez kind of in NFBC came back into that pool because it was his first start. So these guys are going for 25, 30% of the salary. And I feel like you were able to get Cade Horton at a cheaper price because it's that post hype sleeper type of situation. And then he was just okay in his first six starts. Like he gave up 3 runs, 4 runs. So he was just kind of putting some ordinary starts out there. And then from June 13th on, he had a 2.16 ERA. And if you go from July 20th on, he had a 1.03 ERA. With a FIP of 279. Obviously, like nobody can really hold up being a 1 ERA pitcher for that amount of time. Like there's a little bit of luck involved in that. He had a BABIP of 191, but that's because he's filthy. And it's not even just with the strikeouts, like 97 strikeouts in 118 innings. He just has a great pitching arsenal. He throws strikes for the most part. He had under 7% walk percentage. And he's just somebody that, like, I watch a decent amount of Cubs games because it'll be the day game and, there's something on a Friday at 2 o'clock and you're kind of ready for a slate of baseball and the Cubs will be the only game that's on, as you know, Jason, but it's just like Horton pitched so many of those day games that I ended up watching, and it was just like, this guy's filthy, and he's a pitcher. It's not just that he's a thrower and he's striking everybody out, like throws double plays, and I just feel like I worry a little bit about his arm because I know that a year ago he kind of had some issues with that, but it was the definition of post hype for me. It was like this guy has the prospect pedigree. I ended up with him on a few of my teams, and I think he can make improvements with the strikeouts. Like I don't think that this is just obviously he's not going to have half a season around one again, but like his 2.67 ERA for the year was with 7.4 strikeouts per nine. Like in the minors, he was a much better strikeout pitcher than that. So I feel like there's another tier for him.
Yeah, you nailed it right on the head, man. We saw the maturation of Cade Horton here. He became a pitcher and not a thrower. And the results are right there on the wall. He started off a little bit rough at the beginning. Looks like he got in the lab and figured things out and figured out it was more than just overpowering hitters, and it was more about setting hitters up to fail. And we saw that happen in the second half. And I don't know the exact stat, but he had the lowest ERA in the second half of Cubs history, and that's better than Jake Arrieta's run where he threw 2 no-hitters. So
Yeah.
that goes to show you how filthy he was in the second half here, and it's all wheels up for Cade Horton. And I don't know they're not going to come out and say this, but I think they kind of basically shut him down at the end of the year. Obviously, he didn't make any of those playoff spots. They said it was an injury. I think it was more along the lines of just precautionary and protecting his arm for the future. There probably was some sort of injury. I know he had some blisters issues at the end of the season too. But yeah, I'm all in on Cade Horton for sure.
Yeah, and with the AAA innings is 147. Like that's a good number.
Yep.
To kind of take the leap to 160 to 170 next year.
Absolutely. kind of run through some more guys here. This one wasn't like my guy wasn't like some world beater, but I think the step up that Andrew Abbott took this year. You know, we've kind of seen him have some upside in the past, right? We've seen the strikeout numbers look really well. So that's a couple games that really looked jumped off the page and showed some dominance. But I think he really took that next step this year. He earned double-digit wins at a sub-3 ERA. He cut his walks down. As long as he didn't allow the home runs were cut way down, which is actually impressive given his home ballpark. We saw him rely less on the fastball and just, you know, kind of throw the changeup more, which also helped and allowed more soft contact. And he also cut down on barrel rate as well in 2025. So, again, not one of these guys that's going to like dominate your pitching staff, but someone that's going to give you really nice ratios. And he's on a decent club, so the wins should be there. Cincinnati was obviously much improved this year. And I just really liked what I saw from Andrew Abbott going forward. I think still at a young age where he can kind of do what we saw Cade Horton do and learn to be more of a pitcher than a thrower. I think that we see a lot of those guys kind of make that mistake when they first, especially the high velocity guys that come up and think they can just overpower major league hitters. But I think we kind of saw Andrew Abbott can take the next step forward, and the strikeouts aren't quite what we want, but I'll take a sub-3 ERA and double-digit wins for someone that you're getting probably. Again, I don't have, like Bob, I don't have the ADP pulled up, but he was definitely not inside the top 100. He probably was like,
no.
He had more strikeouts than I thought, honestly. I was thinking like low hundreds, but
he had a really good
like
second half too.
Yeah, that's great.
There's certain pitchers that you need like a few years of data to realize that they outpitch their peripherals.
Mm-hmm.
And Abbott is one of those. Like whenever I look at projections, it says that, you know, he's going to be a mediocre pitcher. You look at his FIP, you look at his xFIP. Like his ERA this year was 2.87. His FIP was 3.66. His xFIP was 4.31. Last year, his ERA was 3.72. His FIP was 5.04. His xFIP was 4.91. His rookie season was the same thing. So like now that for 3 years, he's been a run better in his earned run average than his peripherals. It's like, I don't know. There's just certain pitchers that kind of defy logic in that way. Those FIP type of stats might apply to 90% of pitchers, but some people just locate really well. And Abbott is one of those. Like, you know, his stuff numbers don't jump off the page, but he locates, and that gets just enough strikeouts. And yeah, I mean, through 166 innings, talk about ratios, 115 whip, 287 ERA, like it's going to help you a ton, especially in that ballpark. Right. It's not an easy place to pitch.
Exactly. All right, Nick, who's your wild card?
This is definitely going to be a wild card. Cam Schlittler.
Whoa! This guy's bringing up a Yankee.
I'm bringing up a Yankee, and this has
got to be a wait. This is an on deck exclusive right now.
It's gonna.
We got Nick talking ball, talking Yankees. Let's hear it.
It's gonna turn into a rant after I'm done. But if there's one thing I love, it's when a pitcher knows what their best pitch is and they just use it. And granted, it is a young pitcher, so like people might be able to figure it out. He threw his fastball 60% of the time when he was pitching. He has a hell of a fastball. I'm in on the fastball, and he's on a great team. I think this is going to be someone that's going to get overdrafted going into next year, mostly because of what we saw against the Red Sox in Game 5 and like everything that the buzz around Schlittler is definitely at its highest point, but he is someone that's definitely rising in my head. 6'6", 225, big body, all in. But I hope he sucks.
Yeah, you get a pass though on picking a Yankee guy because Schlittler is a masshole.
He is a masshole.
Yeah, he's from he went to Walpole High School. So
yeah.
There you go.
So here is my rant about uneducated Red Sox fans, mostly on Twitter. The amount of screen grabs that I saw of the 2022 MLB draft, where it's like he was picked one pick before. I don't know who this guy before him is. Red Sox should have picked him. Do you know who the Red Sox spent all of their bonus money on, Bob?
Was it Roman Anthony?
It was Roman Anthony.
Yeah.
So, like...
And also, he went in, like, round 6 or 7, right?
Yeah.
So 30 teams passed on him 6 times, including the Yankees.
Yeah, so it's just those
that,
things...
That argument only applies when it's, like, a round 1 pick.
Yeah. No, nothing. Yeah. Give me Roman Anthony and Mikey Romero over any day.
No. It's fair.
But I think he's going to be very good, and I'm kind of bummed about it because he's got some balls. He lives up the street from me in the off season, so that's cool.
Just doxing him now, or what?
No, he just lives in South. You've been to the neighborhood, Jason.
Yeah, I have.
We went to Lincoln. He's probably been to Lincoln, Jason.
Yeah, he probably has. Yeah, we probably.
He's probably top of basement right now.
Maybe.
They have great wings at Lincoln.
Yeah.
I forgot what I even ordered, but that's another story.
I believe we got brunch. I think he did a pancake.
There's no way I ordered a pancake, bro. You know how I know it? Because I don't order pancakes, man.
Maybe your wife ordered pancakes?
Yeah, maybe my wife, but I did not
a Lucky Charm pancake or some shit.
Fruity Pebbles, maybe, or some shit.
Yes.
Yeah. Like going on here and talking about a couple men going to brunch.
That's right.
With Jason's
in Southie. In
Southie, kid. Oh, that was
all right. Well, we know, on Doc Sicker we talk about some dynasty aspects, things too. So let's get into some of these rising prospects here. And it wouldn't be an on deck circle if we didn't get homerism going on. We already had some homerism. We've had Tucker talk. We've had we already talked Devers and some other people, but it's homer talk. So we got to get into Bob's prospect riser here.
Yeah, well, I'm the last one to bring up a Red Sox, so because Crochet and Aroldis Chapman already have them.
True.
But, my prospect riser is Payton Tolle, and this is just somebody who started the year as he had never thrown a pitch in organized professional baseball, I should say. He was in high A, blew through that in 10 starts. He went to double A, made 5 starts there at a 1.67 ERA, went to triple A, just threw 15 innings, striking everybody out there. And it's really not just about that. It's just kind of the advances that he made with his repertoire. Like, he came out of TCU and he's 6'6", 250. Like, at least that's what he's listed at. And he was throwing 91 when he got drafted. And obviously that just needed to be rectified. So all of a sudden he was averaging 95 and he was hitting 98. And then, when he was amped up in his debut, he's hitting 100 when he got called up to the Red Sox. Now, I think that with him, like, there was no expectations as somebody that started in high A, having been drafted a year ago, that he was ever going to make it to the major leagues. He threw 91 innings in the minors and then 16 in the majors. So he ended up at 108. And I think they saw after the third start that he made in the major leagues that they had kind of some indicators that it probably wasn't going to hold up and he shouldn't stay in the rotation for the playoffs. I think that they will get him on that starting pitcher every 5th to 6th day workload next year rather than every 7th day that he was in his first professional season as a 22-year-old. And I almost think the cost might be affordable because it was Connolly early that got the start in the playoff game. I think Tolle might be a little bit forgotten, at least in redraft leagues. I'm sure dynasty-wise, like, it's going to, cost a lot to make a trade for him. But, this is a guy that didn't go that high in first-year player drafts a year ago. Like, he was a round 2 pick. I think, he went more in like round 3, round 4 in FYPDs. And then, his ERA, like I said, was 6.06. And I think he's a way better pitcher than that. I think that we saw in his first start against Pittsburgh, he was absolutely electric. His secondaries have improved. Like, his slider is better. He probably needs a third pitch that he can figure out. He uses his changeup and his cutter a little bit, but I think that Tolle, at least in redraft next year, should be affordable. It might be, like I said, a little bit of an afterthought compared to Connolly early. And I think he's just going to be an awesome pitcher. Like you look at any of the prospect lists at the midseason point, once Roman Anthony and Meyer and Campbell graduated, Tolle was at the top of that list. And he's been, kind of a higher pitching prospect than early throughout. So, it's just a name that I'm still filing away, and I'm as interested in kind of what his draft cost is going to be as much as anybody, because, I think that whether he gets that spot right away or they hold him down for a couple weeks and bring him up later in April to keep him in that 150 inning range, like we were talking about with Cade Horton, like that's what I see next year. But I think that they could be great innings with good strikeouts. And he throws 98 with good extension. I just think that he's going to be, especially for left-handed hitters, like a really tough ask going forward.
Yeah, Bob, do you think he's on the Red Sox going into next season?
Like making the opening day rotation?
Oh, no, in the organization.
Oh, yeah. So you're thinking like a Joe Ryan trade or something like that, right?
I want Hunter Green. But
okay. Yeah. I'm not. I don't know. The Hunter Green thing is tough because I feel like Hunter Green, with his injuries, and eventually, his arm's gonna break. Like he's unbelievable when he's on, but they seem to happen in like 30 inning stints at a time, and then he goes in the IL, and then he comes back and he's throwing 100 and blowing people away, and then I would rather they trade for Joe Ryan. I'd really like them to stay away from Tolle. So even if that means, they trade Justinci Garcia and Connolly early and a lesser prospect or something like that.
Okay.
But I don't know. I really want to see them hang on to Tolle.
Yeah, he's so much, dude. That was the most fun I've had watching a regular season baseball game.
Right.
Just tuning in, everyone would like that was honestly like the funnest night on Twitter as a Red Sox fan because like
Friday night Fenway.
It was just like, okay, this is like we're all here, we're all rooting for you. That was a good one. Yep. I'm with you. I do hope they keep Tolle.
Yeah, I like the Tolle. I didn't even know who Tolle was until Nick kind of chipped him in my ear, and I was like, this could be fun. And like most Red Sox prospects, I get it from my inner workings within the Boston.
Yes.
It's almost like
hopefully you knew about the 80 grade mustache before he debuted.
No, before he debuted, yes, but
yeah,
I think back in the beginning of the year, and then Nick was talking about how he wanted to get him in our league, and I was like, he thought he was going to last with a bunch of other Boston people in the league, but that's another topic. But yeah, Tolle's cool. I like the call out on him, and we've seen Boston kind of develop pitching pretty well, so it's not like he can't.
Who would have thunk? They figured it out.
Yeah, Andrew Bailey, man.
Yeah.
All right, my guy here for a pitcher. It's kind of quick guy here. Jurrangelo Cijntje. I think a lot of people may remember.
Is this the switch pitcher?
Switch pitcher. The reason I have him on the rise for a couple reasons. One, he had a really decent first year in the minors. Second of all, the sheer upside of him, because I thought for sure, and he still could eventually go down this route, that he'd be just a bullpen piece. But the Mariners are staying firm, and they're still using him as a starter. He made 23 starts this year, had a sub-4 ERA, and he actually had a better ERA when he jumped up to AA than when he was at high A. He does still use both arms to pitch. I got to venture to assume that at some point, though, they are going to kill the experiment and go to just a one-arm pitcher. Unless, of course, they want to, like, do some weird, like, bullpen maneuver, like, strategy thing here with him. But to me, the upside and the intrigue is what gives me hope. And I actually own him in, like, a ton of leagues. Because you could have got him in, like, the 4th or 5th round of your FYPD last year. Just because of such a novelty that he is and still continues to be. What the future holds, I don't know. And that's why I have him rising. If he would have had a down year, which was definitely a possibility with this weird ambidextrous pitching, but he didn't. And he's a better right-handed pitcher than left-handed pitcher. He has high-end velocity from the right side. I'm just intrigued by the upside and what the possibilities hold with an ambidextrous pitcher, with having decent results in a small sample size, still be it, but some success in the minor leagues, even at AA too. So I'm intrigued.
Yeah, we need that. That'll be such a good story.
I know.
Sign me up for any gimmick. I'm in.
Exactly. All right, Nick, who's your wild card pitching riser prospect?
All right. Crazy wild card. Didn't see this one on the show sheet, so I did not pick one. So I'm just gonna throw a name out.
No, that's fine.
Could I have looked one up while you guys were talking? Yes, but no, I'm not gonna give a half wild card enough.
Yeah, we gotta save time anyways, Nick.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just go on. Let's jump down to our fallers here. Get through some of these guys here.
Perfect.
A lot of these are kind of no-brainers, and I think we all kind of. I know at least the two of us that shared our names. These guys were all got names that we could have easily. We even did pick some of the same guys, but we'll start with Bob's here first. His falling hitter. Going to give us a little bit of.
Did you want to go, Nick? Sorry, I feel like
no. Okay. I'll go. I'll go first on this one.
We'll see.
So this again is someone that I'm not saying is not good at baseball. I'm gonna try to avoid at all costs, and it's someone who I actually, if I were to name his profile, which I will, and let's see if you guys can guess it. Power hitter with speed, does not get a lot of hits.
Adolis Garcia.
No. Young-ish.
Oh, I mean.
By power hitter, I mean he hits the shit out of the ball. He's very tall, plays center field, also played shortstop.
O'Neal Cruz.
O'Neal Cruz. Out on O'Neal Cruz.
That's fair.
The stolen bases are great. He hit 200.
Mm-hmm.
His OBP was under 300. Only 20 home runs. Like, give me Pages over O'Neal Cruz going into next season for where they are. I think I'm just wishing O'Neal Cruz is a thing. The idea of O'Neal Cruz is great, 6'7", 240, but like he just doesn't do the baseball stuff enough for me to really like where he gets picked.
Do you know what he hit against lefties?
Do I want to know?
I mean,
God.
Take a guess.
100 or 095.
Yeah, 102. You're right at it.
Yeah.
I've never seen that in my life from an everyday player. Never mind a player that goes as recently this year is round, 3?
Yeah.
You can't hit 102 and be a serious player.
And like,
so I just don't like if Pittsburgh becomes a good team, and which they still might be a couple years away from, like he already sits against lefties a lot. It'll probably happen even more frequently once they care about the games in the second half of the season. I haven't rostered O'Neal Cruz in a while, but the average, it's tough because he stole 38 bases, but it's not worth it. That's not worth it for that average. You can find that, especially now with everybody running.
Mm-hmm.
We joke about Josh Naylor, but like you could find steals a lot more than power. Like that's not worth a 200 average.
Yeah, I do think that he's easy to sell, as in people know the name, they like the game, but I don't know if they actually know that he does not hit other than 20 home runs. Like, that's crazy. The 102 against fucking... And then, like, when you hear that...
I didn't believe it when I read it.
But when you hear 102, you're like, okay, well, he must do really great against righties, but it's 229. Like, yeah. So I'm very excited to say O'Neal Cruz is available in my league whenever the trading thing opens. Embargo.
Speaking of people that can't hit, I went with Adlet Rutschman.
Yeah.
And I don't understand when this happened or why this happened. I had him on a lot of teams this year because he felt like a bounce back candidate who was hurt in the second half of the year, and you heard, foul tip that he was out for some time, and then he was never the same after that. And there was all sorts of different reasons. This was a 5.5 WAR player in 2022 as a rookie, and 5.5 in 2023. Seemingly the number one dynasty catcher on every list for years and years as a prospect, and then his first 2 years in the league. 2.7 WAR in 148 games a year ago. Oh, he must be playing hurt. Well, in 90 games before his injury this year, he was a 1.2 WAR. He had 9 homers, 29 RBIs in 90 games. That's impossible from a player with as much talent as he has. He hit 220. That's a 91 WRC plus. If you look at his hard hit stats, he's below 50% across the board, except for chase rate and plate discipline. Like, those are all fine. But it's just, he was in 2023, it was 93% percentile expected WOBA, 96 percentile expected OBP. Max EV was in the 70% range, and then that went down to 52. And you just see these, it's gone from red to blue over 4 years. So now it's been a year and a half. And I did get burned on this with Bo Bichette going into the season because he had a year and a half that was down. But I don't know. We talked earlier about how many good catchers there are, and I'm just not going to go for the name value of Rutschman at this point and get burned again next year.
Yeah, my sources in Baltimore say he's kind of a shithead.
Well, even more.
And it's a semi-reliable source. I'm gonna say it's a good source.
And they've been drafting catchers too.
Yeah,
so
that's even worse. Like, they just
Basayo is up, and
was it Ike Irish? They just drafted.
Yeah.
Like, he was like the top catcher. Like,
they drafted 2 catchers. Yeah. And then Basayo got called up, so you have to wonder if he's going out in a trade.
Yeah, bad work ethic on the Adlet Rutschman front. I'll text you guys my source later.
You heard it here.
Yeah. I don't know what was more shocking, Nick's wildcard or Nick telling us he has Boston sources.
Baltimore.
Oh, Baltimore, yeah. I guess the Boston would have been more believable.
Yeah.
More massholes over there with your inner circle.
Hey,
sources.
you can't say it.
Wait,
We never said that.
that's twice.
Hey.
You get
Don't
pass.
be keeping track. One's a pass, 2, shame on me, right?
You have to be explicit now.
All right, we'll get into my guy real quick here, and it's Nick Castellanos. Just bum, yeah. I don't want to get, I got, where do I start? There's so much to go down this list of what I don't like about him, but more or less he had an ADP of 163 before the draft, which was like a borderline, is being drafted as a borderline third outfielder. Just an awful stretch run down the half. He only had 5 home runs post All-Star break. The over.
Bob, are you still here?
I'm here.
All right. So Nick Castellanos sucks. Of course, it was Castellanos where the podcast shits the bed.
I know.
And there's a deep drive.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Am I back?
he's back?
And it's 4-0. Oh, there he is.
Yeah,
okay.
Back.
Anytime Nick Castellanos gets brought up, some sort of
bad happens, yeah.
event happens, or I thought maybe your house got struck by lightning.
I'd like to apologize for my.
I am a man of faith.
Yeah.
Yo, he was on the BC call the other day.
Yeah, he's back. Brenneman's back.
All right, Nick. Oh, you went first, right? That's right.
Yeah. What are we doing?
We're out of order now. You got me all messed up.
Yeah, that was me.
Tell me you got Baltimore sources. All right. We'll get on to Bob's pitcher here.
Yeah. Went with Brandon. What's that?
What's so funny?
All right. Bob, go, and then I'll just have an anecdote after.
Oh, all right. I went with Brandon Pfaadt. Do you want the anecdote now, or?
Yeah.
Oh, the anecdote is, so Bob is nice enough to give me some gambling picks every now and then. And whenever Brandon Pfaadt was pitching, I feel like it was always against him. Very anti-Brandon Pfaadt, so I should have expected this
take the over and runs when Pfaadt started.
Yeah, and it's like the opposite of the Andrew Abbott that I was talking about earlier. Like Pfaadt's xFIP was 4.01 and his ERA was 5.25. And a year ago, the reason I bought back in was because his xFIP was 3.58 and his ERA is 4.71. And at some point, you just realize that this guy's been getting his ass kicked pretty much every start his whole career. He's got a 5.13 career ERA in 454 innings. That's 83 starts. That's like a pretty decent sample size. He probably did more damage if you had him in your lineup this year than any other pitcher in baseball, because it was like, not only was he a pretty bad pitcher with the 133 whip and the 5.25 ERA, but he threw 177 innings. The more innings you throw, the more damage you're doing in those ratios. So we talked about Nate Eovaldi earlier. Like Brandon Pfaadt was the anti-Nate Eovaldi. It was just doing, he got blow-ups, a lot of outings of, 7, 8 earned runs. And when you go back the last 2 years and, you can set the minimum at like 300 innings, the only pitchers that are worse ERA-wise over the last 2 years than Brandon Pfaadt are Mitchell Parker, Jake Irvin, Patrick Corbin, and Miles Michaelis. And, Pfaadt, I still feel like he was going around 14, 15 going into the season, and just not sure what he's bringing to the table at this point, as he really didn't strike enough guys out this year with 7.5 per 9.
Yeah, he, like you said, it's exactly what it was. He was, I think, just like an implosion waiting to happen. There'd be some outings where he'd go out there and there was a couple of stints where I remember he'd give up like 1 run and strike out 10 guys. And the next 5 outings were like 7+ earned runs. And you're like, well, I picked him up because he was a 2-star pitcher and he's had a 1-run game. And then he does this. Yeah. He's been one of those guys that for the last 2 years now have been like, he gives you those teaser starts where he looks really great. And then for the next 4 or 5 starts, he just implodes on himself and gives up 3-4 home runs, 7 earned runs.
He had to start with 0 outs and 8 earned runs this year. So let's not forget about that.
Yeah.
Definitely in my lineup too for that.
All right. Well, my guy who's a former, we don't know if he's former yet, but Zac Gallen, another Arizona pitcher who at one point was an all-star a few years, maybe even last year, and was looking to be on the rise. And to me now he's on the other side of that and declining so much so that Arizona was on the verge of trading him, but everybody else knew that he wasn't worth what they were asking because he was so bad. And a lot of his stats kind of proved that. And he just kind of stayed where he was. And his strikeout numbers were down. The K rate went down, striking out almost a whole batter less per 9 in his whole career. It was down to like, I think 8.5 per 9. So the strikeouts weren't even there. Gave up a ton of home runs. He's given up almost 1.5. I think his home run per 9 was 1.5, 1.6 a game. He's given up a ton of hard contact, solid barrel contact. And he had an ADP of 128 for this year. He was a top 50 pitcher in 2025, being drafted as a top 50 starting pitcher. He didn't get anywhere near. I think arguably he might have been the worst qualified starting pitcher when it comes to Fangraph WAR. Or at least the top 3 to 5 in Fangraph WAR. He did a negative WAR, Fangraph WAR, among qualified pitchers. So I don't need to know about Zac Gallen last year. So I never was really a big Zac Gallen guy. I think he had like 1 or 2 innings, 1 or 2 years where he kind of like sprung onto the scene and was being. I think he had like a 2-season stretch where he had like 190 plus innings, and he did 190 this year, but most of them were not very efficient innings, and I don't know what he's gonna get this year, where he's gonna go. If he can go somewhere that could like maybe like somewhere that can maybe like a Boston maybe. What do you guys think?
That's I've been saying that there's people I want them to sign as a number 2 pitcher, and they're gonna sign Zac Gallen in the same way as they signed Walker Buehler a year ago as their reclamation project, and it's gonna pork him again.
Can't wait.
Nick, did you get this one on the show sheet or what?
I did. Okay. The only one I missed was that one. Mine's kind of just injury based, and it's Cole Reagan's. Just someone that last year would have been in the MVP type of conversation that we had earlier, but I'm starting to wonder if, like, will the real Cole Reagans please stand up? I truly don't know what it is. He began the season great, but again, he just gets hurt. And then he comes back, and I think they may have maybe not rushed him back, but like he wasn't fully ready. Maybe a couple more rehab starts, but it just wasn't. I was heavily invested in Cole Reagans in a lot of different places. He was like the 5th, 6th pitcher going off the board, and what we got out of it. And again, it is injury plagued, so like I get it. But 3 wins, 61 innings, just under 5 ERA is not something that I'm willing to not sacrifice, like take the risk on next year in like the 3rd round. Like I'm just kind of going to be like, okay, I'd rather have Nathan Eovaldi in 3 more rounds than Cole Reagans.
Yeah. His innings bump probably should have been a tell. Like, it went from 96 to 186, and he had already had not just the Tommy John surgery, but he had a revision after that. So it's not surprising to see him, with an arm injury. I don't know. Does it go every other season? He only threw 61 this year. Is he going to bounce back and do something like he did last year? But it's definitely, there's a lot of unknowns.
We'll see. Can't wait.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll round out here with some faller prospects here, and this guy was so much of a faller that it ended on 2 of our lists, and that's I'll give it off to Bob here.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of fill in the gaps there, Jason, but I went with Andrew Painter. I would say going back to 2022, before his injury, he was the number 1 pitching prospect on a lot of lists, I guess, depending on when Paul Skeens kind of passed him, but then he just got called up and was no longer a prospect faster than you can blink. Then Painter had the arm surgery. He was out for 2023. They kept him out for all of 2024. So I assumed because they gave him that extra time that he was going to come up and pitch like 4 months this season, and stashed him in a lot of places. But then, they kind of slow played it. And eventually he ended up throwing 118 innings, but they were pretty much all in AAA. And it was a 5.40 ERA. And the strikeouts that at the lower levels were, 12 strikeouts per 9 was down at just like a strikeout per inning that he had this season. I'm going to be interested to see like some of the offseason reports on Painter. It's not like you're giving up on him, but it's just another reminder of there are so few sure thing pitching prospects. I feel like with Skeens, there weren't any questions there. But once you started hearing with Painter, and I think of like Ricky Tiedemann, and we could go back 10 years and you could take the list of the top 10 or top 20 pitching prospects and just say, who was a hit and who was a miss. And it's just a reminder of, like, in your dynasty leagues, if you're rebuilding or if you're in a startup draft or something like that, that these, Andrew Painter types and pitchers that are 21, 22 years old, it's just so hard to know what direction it goes. And half of them are going to have Tommy John surgery. And you don't know what they're going to look like on the other side. So, obviously it's not giving up on Painter. He might be a good redraft cost this year. But he can come out of the surgery on the other side with an effective season.
Yeah, you literally echoed everything I was going to say too. Is like he's just not the same pitcher we saw prior, or he missed the last 2 seasons. Comes out in 2025. There was rumors that he might make an appearance here at the end of the season. I just don't think they brought him up because he was just so inefficient at AAA. Strikeout numbers were down. ERA was inflated. I just don't know if he's the same pitcher as we saw earlier in his career in the minor leagues. And if he, again, like you said, I'm not out on him, but he's definitely fallen down my lists as far as starting pitching prospects go and things like that. And you kind of mentioned the guy that I'm going to talk about here, and it's kind of the same concept with Andrew Painter. It's Ricky Tiedemann. We're now seeing the same thing that happened to Painters happening to Tiedemann. He had pushed off and got Tommy John in 2024 last summer. So we're pretty much going to miss all of 25. There's rumors that he might come back and he was throwing some bullpens, and slim chance that he could come back at the end of this season. Obviously, they did not rush him for good reasons, and I just don't know, if similar to Painter, like if you can trust him on coming back. The bulk there is not there. Since being drafted in 2021, he's only amassed 139 innings pitching over the last 4 years. And now he's coming off a significant injury. So to not only hold on to him in dynasty leagues, depending on your roster's construction and your depth, but I mean, you're talking he may not even make a major league impact until like 2027. And I just can't get in on that. And for that reason, again, I'm not out on him. He could come back in 2027 and be, a workhorse and a great guy, but you're talking about 2-3 years from now. So, and he's been sitting on your bench since 2021. You probably drafted him in like the first round of your FYPD. So you're talking about holding on to a pitching prospect for 7 years. I'm out on Ricky Tiedemann.
Yeah, it's tough because like at what cost? Like if he's on your team, you're not going to trade him because like you said, you've been holding him for so long. Like what's another year? You probably won't. You might be able to get him on your IL eventually, right? I don't know if he's on the 40-man, correct?
I'm not sure.
I'm assuming
he still would have the minors designation on a
dynasty
team.
I think I don't know what I would do if I owned it in a dynasty league because
maybe use him as a throw-in to get a deal done or something.
But I feel like I'd be so mad using him as a throw-in, and I think I would rather keep him and let him flame out in 4 years and cut him than trade him and then he's a fucking stud. Because I'm like, I knew it.
Yeah, I mean, contact is everything, but yeah, I don't know if you're trying to trade him straight up or something. I don't know what kind of value you're getting for him right now.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Who you got, Nick? Did you get this one on the show sheet?
I got it. Hold on. Pains me to say it. Christian Campbell.
Oh.
The prodigal son.
We were so high on Christian
as
Campbell
everyone calls him
at the beginning of the season.
It's
Tell us
just
why. I'm
just worried. I don't know why they didn't call him up again, and that kind of bummed me out. Bob's smarter than me in these things, so like he can definitely probably attest to some things, but like I just don't know. I think realistically, if one of the prospects between Tolle, any of them get moved, I think Campbell's the guy to get moved. I don't know if he has a position. That's scary to me because I'm like, you can't just like they were working out first base, they're working out the outfield, they're working out everywhere, which I guess like versatility is cool, but like for a young player, you need routine, and I don't know what the plan actually is for him, and for that, it scares me. But like the Red Sox will be good, so I'm cool with it. But then I'm also like, did they ruin his value by calling him up at the beginning of the offseason? And like at first I was like, oh, the contract's great. But like, is this like a Scott Kingery type of contract? And yeah. I said it.
God.
Deep pull.
I think he was hurt. I think he was playing through this rib injury that kind of came out later in the season. And I think that they want him to reset in the offseason. And I think they're going to move him to the outfield. Okay. I think that, as you mentioned, like, why didn't they call him up when his stats, like, he was hitting a lot better in the minors the last 2 months of the season, but he wasn't hitting for power. And I think that he's a power hitter that was sapped by the rib injury and that they just want to reset him in the offseason. That's my optimistic view of it. We'll see.
That's what I want to happen, Bob. I want Christian Campbell.
Yeah.
He's great. He's a cool guy.
He's a cool guy.
As an outsider, I too want Christian Campbell to be a cool guy and make an impact at the major league level.
Thank you.
No one wants the Scott Kingery comp.
No, yeah. that was going down a dark place.
I'm sorry to Christian Campbell. Let's strike that from the record.
Yeah, you've said some several offensive things on this show today.
And that was the most.
Yeah. All right, well, that's gonna do it for this 2025 season recap. I think this was great, Bob. I'm so glad you came back.
Yeah.
You always bring a fresh new insight to the on deck circle, and yeah, it's been great, man. Again, we're gonna try and get you back on here again. I know we got a ton of off-season content coming, so we'd love to have you back. Maybe talk a little winter meeting, some off-season moves that happen, and how they affect the fantasy landscape. So that'd be great.
Yeah.
In the future.
Yeah, the twice a year is working great, so we'll do a little preseason action again.
We'll push it for 3, maybe even get down to like quarterly or something.
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah, that's great. Send a contract over to me. We'll work.
All right, yeah.
that.
I'll have my people get with your people.
Yeah, thank you.
Jason, I have a question for you before we get off here.
Okay, yep.
Um,
What do we got?
Bulls, you ready?
No,
You seeing red?
we're not seeing red here, man. Trust me, we are not seeing red.
You
want to
should be
call
seeing red.
if you want to call the 9th seed in the play-in tournament seeing red, then yeah, we're seeing red, baby.
Battling in that play-in tournament. Celtics.
We love the play-in tournament here in Chicago, man. Trust me, we love the middle ground. Trust me.
You need to teach me your ways of the middle ground, because I think that's where I'm gonna be.
You need to just like not sign like great project. Don't ever go for the full rebuild, man. You just got to go like half-ass.
Oh, okay.
And you just kind of like make trades for guys like Josh Giddey who are good, but are not going to like take over your team.
Okay.
Trade away glue pieces. Keep projects around. They draft fourth overall, like Patrick Williams. We love Patrick Williams here in Chicago.
Right? He has big hands.
Yeah, I mean, this guy.
No,
you think about, he was 19. He was a great project. We take him fourth overall. This is the type of stuff we do when you see red, baby. Okay, don't get it mistaken.
Well, I'm only seeing red for like a year, because next year my best player is coming back.
Yeah, this is a 1 year purgatory for you, Nick.
Unfortunately, I will be there more than likely 2 times a week for the next 6 months.
Someone's got to pay that Tatum salary, man.
Yeah. Hey, and you know what? I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is a baseball podcast, but yeah, that's going to do it for us. And we'll talk to you guys next time.
All right. See you.